two questions so far. They're both pretty much, one is, can you explain the breakdown of how the referendum would save us, the residents, money? The second one is, can you please explain to the residents by voting no, it will save money to the village by not paying a manager's salary?
Right, so the village manager's all-in salary for this year was about $308,000. And when I say all in, that includes health care, car allowance, any benefit he has, plus the village manager's salary. So say, again, 308, 309 in that ballpark. If the village president form of government goes through, the base salary would be $135,000 plus a $15,000 stipend for health care. And the village president is also the liquor commissioner, so that adds up to $172,000. So 308, 309 minus 172 is the savings to the village. Simple math. You can break it down, you can see that. I can put up the calculator real quick, see what the total savings is. 308 minus 172 is 136,000 approximately. Plus, remember, village manager gets a salary increase every year for raises. Village president cannot get a raise every single year. So it'll save money by at least 5% each year going into the next 4 years.
Can you explain why someone with no managerial experience, training, or education should hold such a position?
Well, that's an unfair question. I do have managerial experience. I've managed task force teams. I've managed, actually when I grew up, I was a manager of a store. I've been a mayor for 8 years, and I've been in law enforcement for 25 years. This basically is, you have a group of individuals that you all work with. All my department heads are who run their own departments. So I don't micromanage those departments. I just make sure I have the oversight and the control of what they are doing. They should be doing what they need to do in their own departments. That's what they are trained for. President of the United States doesn't know how to fly an airplane or drive a tank, but yet he's the President of the United States. He's also the Commander-in-Chief, never been in the Army. You put people in positions, which we already have them in place for many, many years, that knows their departments and how to run them.
Joe Howard, who everybody thinks that you are Joe Howard, posted another question. Why do people believe you're trying to sell White Pines as one?
Well, first and foremost, I cannot sell White Pines. It does not belong to the village. I believe people are bringing that up as a sympathy to gain momentum on their cause of trying to defeat the referendum. The White Pines Golf Course is run and operated by the Park District, the Bensenville Park District. They only have the authority to sell the golf course. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, the window to sell the golf course has ended. And I believe now they can only sell it by going to a referendum. So no, I do not want to sell the golf course. And I cannot sell the golf course. Only the Park District can.
What did the village have to do with the sale of the subdivision by 83rd and Devon?
The 83rd and Devon subdivision was bought up by a private entity. They came to the village, and the only reason the village would go along with it if they got 100% of the residents to sell their property. Those residents were given 2, 3, I think some of them 5, 6 times the value of their home. There's no way that the village could stop residents from selling their homes to whomever they want, which they did. Those people made generational wealth on their money. And matter of fact, now that that is in play, those 4 industrial buildings that are there are actually paying more property tax than all of those homes combined were paying, plus water and sewer.
While we wait for more questions, is there anything you want to discuss about the referendum or any candidates that are coming up for the election?
I mean, the candidates are out there working. You know, they're gonna sell themselves pretty much out to the residents, which they walk in every week, tell them their side of the story. The referendum is going to put, again, depends on who you listen to. The referendum is going to put more control for the board, more control for the village president to be one-on-one with the residents. Again, it's gonna save us money. It's gonna save us a lot of time too, in between questions or comments or complaints from the residents that come directly to the village president instead of being funneled around and quite possibly never reaching the village president under the village manager form of government. With that being said, again, people are gonna make their own decisions and we're gonna respect that decision. I do also wanna make a comment on the board meeting for another day. This village board never, ever was gonna approve the sale of cannabis in this town. So those who are going around saying that are completely false and unjustified.
Why do you allow fake profiles, your friends, to harass and bully residents?
Well, first and foremost, nobody knows who are on those profiles, so saying they're my friends is just a false statement. And I am not the Facebook police. I can't control who posts and who doesn't post. If that was the case, all that false stuff that's been posted about me would have been removed a long time ago as well. That's a Facebook problem, that's not a Frank DeSimone problem.
Why aren't the village entities working together to make Bensenville better or grow?
It's a great question. The village invites all entities to our music in the park and all the events we have. I can't answer why all the taxing bodies aren't working together. That would be something you want to ask the park district, or actually I was at the school district, I was at the schools today doing a job fair, so we're working well with the schools. The fire department shows up with the exception of last year because of construction, but they come to the music in the park. I show up at their open houses, so I believe we are currently working somewhat well. It could be better. I'm not gonna lie, it should be better, but some people don't want to cooperate with the village, and I can't answer why that is.
What is the plan if the referendum is not successful for the VM position?
You have to go out and hire a village manager. The village manager contract goes the term of the presidency. So people are asking, why didn't we just hire a village manager? I don't think any village manager would take a position not knowing if it would be secure, or leave a current job for a position that wouldn't be secure. That's why interim village manager is placed. And this village previously, they appointed the police chief as interim manager, just as we did. So that will happen until after the referendum. If the referendum fails, we're gonna have to look to hire a village manager. And if it doesn't, it will be village president form of government. I do believe a village manager will come in here at a higher salary, just because of what's going on now in social media world and how everybody's talking. But that's something we'll have to figure out. That's a Facebook problem, that's not a Frank DeSimone problem.
Are there any current village job openings? If so, why are they not posted publicly?
We post all of our job openings on the village website.
Are there any current village job openings?
I would have to check the village website. I mean, I know we have a bunch of part-time jobs that are always open. But there's a section in the village website you can find all job openings.
Could you talk about the reason the pet license fee was instituted? At $3, it's likely barely covered the cost of the tag. As I'm not aware of any enforcement, isn't it already a voluntary tax?
Well, I didn't institute it, and you're correct. It's really not covering the cost. I think the highest we've done in the last couple of years was maybe $1,000 or $1,100. So that was one of the reasons why I would bring it to the people. I mean, I think it would be a good idea to register your dog with the village, so in case the dog runs away or gets lost, we can find the dog. But to purchase metal dog tags and charge $3, I know it sounds like a minute dollar amount, but I just think it costs more in staff time to initiate those than it does in what we actually collect or make on that dog tag. That's why we brought that to the people to decide.
Can you explain that you have no control over Park District? They misinform residents.
The Park District is a separate taxing body. The Park Board is elected by the residents and the voters of this village. They make up their own body. They appoint their own Park District president. They have their own Park District director. It has nothing to do with the village. They have their own board meetings.
What systems are put in place to avoid corruption if the referendum passes?
We have a finance director. Every year we do an audit We have a board that votes on what is being sold or what is being spent. So those three things alone, we're actually going through an audit right now. We're winning awards on audits. So the corruption fact is there's a threefold process, and the audit alone will tell us if something's amiss. And then that'll be up to the board to correct that decision. As of right now, in the last 8 years, we've had clean and perfect audits.
Why do you feel this change of government is in the best interest of the town?
I believe it gives the residents a direct connect to the village president. People call the village hall that don't understand the village manager form of government, and they want to speak to the mayor or the village president. And being that a part-time role, I wouldn't be there to answer the phone calls, so somebody else will get that phone call. And if that phone call is something that is near and dear to that resident's heart, and I'll just say a pothole, and say that pothole doesn't get fixed in 6 weeks, and I run into that resident at a restaurant or a store in town, and they get mad at me for not fixing it because they called the village hall. And in theory, I never got that message. They're not going to believe that, and they're going to be upset. The residents vote for their elected officials. The elected officials should answer the residents' problems, and that's what we're going to do. It'll be a direct connect. I've been calling people back within the first 48 hours, unless it's the weekend, of that phone call, and making those things happen.
Why has the director/manager of HR job have not been posted?
Because we have somebody with the same qualifications that has been transferred to that position.
Is that HR person someone you know?
What HR? The new one?
The person that was transferred in?
She's worked for the village for 19 years, or 18 years.
If the village manager runs the day-to-day show, and it's a position that you fill out an application for, why am I voting for the part-time president whose ideas I like?
It's a great question. The village manager, who is a non-elected position, job basically, doesn't have to live in town, doesn't have to have roots in the town. The village president, and that's the one thing I'm saying, is if you're voting for the person that's going to best do the job and who's going to be more receptive to you. That's why we want to change. One of the reasons why we want to change the form of government in the referendum is to make myself or the village president, me, the village president, accountable to what the people want. I don't know if that's a good enough explanation.
What's to stop the village manager from doing what he wants if you were to hire?
There's nothing, because if I'm not there full time, it could happen, and it has happened.
What was wrong with the current form of government that warrants such a change?
I just think that there was things coming into the village that needed my attention that I was not getting. And that's not fair to the residents who elect us. You can, if you're mad at the board or the president, you could vote not to re-elect them. The heat on the village manager is they can just go get another job. I can't get re-elected in another town.
If this referendum passes, what steps are you taking to stop the next Joe H. from running that has no experience yet receives a six-figure salary, benefits, pension, etc.?
That's going to be on the residents. If the referendum passes and we are doing the same job or better than what we've been doing, why would you vote for somebody else to do it? You would vote for the people that you know. What's the saying? You vote for the people that you know, and that you don't trust people that you don't. So if I'm doing the job that I'm going to continue to do, and the board is doing the job that they're going to continue to do, there'd be no reason to vote for somebody else. You know what you have. And we've proven that over the last 8 years.
So I think what they're asking is, what's going to stop 25 people from running in the next election because of just for the salary?
Nothing. I mean, that's the reality of it. Am I still on camera? Sorry, let's sit back. Nothing. I mean, everybody has the right to run. Listen, if we're doing something wrong and you have a solution to do it right, run. But if you're going to just complain and have no solutions, but just nitpick everything that myself and the board are doing, that's going to be on you. But the residents see through that. The residents see through that. That's why the last 2 years, it's basically been 2 uncontested elections. They know that we have the best interest of the village in mind. And I will continue to do that from day one, like I did from day one till now. There's no changing that. Bensenville is in the front of my mind every single day. That's why this is more important to me than a referendum or a complaint or an argument. The village is prospering and we need to continue to prosper. This town is divided right now by a handful of people that just don't want somebody like me to succeed. And that's not fair. That's not a fair thing to say. What I've done in the past predicts future, and what we've done in the past has outweighed anything that anybody would believe that we've done with the senior programs and the senior center and all the upgrades and all the street repairs we've done. We've done more street repairs last year because we did over $10 million in infrastructure repairs last year. And we're not stopping. We're bringing in businesses. We have 2 hotels coming in. People are investing millions of dollars in this town. And we want to continue to do that. And I will continue to do that. So I can't stop people from running. Hey, if they find something we do wrong and they can run on it and people want to believe in them, go ahead. But again, even if the salary wasn't there, people could still run for the position.
Will Bensenville be continued to be bought out west of 83 and south of Foster?
Again, it's a question I can't answer. South of Foster, I mean, that's all industrial on our side. So that's already industrial. West of 83, there's a small pocket. What was bought out west of 83 was unincorporated DuPage County. I have no idea. I mean, I hear that these these builders are trying to buy everywhere they go. That's going to be up to the residents, but there's not too many residential areas that we have. I mean, we have a pocket on the west side of 83. I just don't think that area is going to be bought out just because there's so many homes surrounding it.
Why did the previous village manager get fired?
We don't discuss hirings and firings.
Do you want to explain the difference between, because everybody keeps labeling that you got fired?
We did not renew his contract. So he had a clause in his contract that if we weren't going to renew it, he got X amount of time as a severance package, and that's what we exercised. He was not fired. We just did not renew his contract.
This is not about you. This is about Bensenville's future. What happens after you?
I can't answer that question. I mean, I don't know. That's a question that I can't answer. I don't know what's going to happen after me. If I knew that, I would go out.
Why do Q&A on a community page where all of your opposition was silenced, blocked, and banned from?
I was asked to come on this page. I obliged to come on this page. I don't control this page. Why am I blocked on everybody else's community page where I can't talk? I mean, it's childish. They don't want to hear what I have to say. They want to control the narrative. So I came on this page to talk, and that's what I'm doing.
You and your wife were never blocked on any pages. Most actually believe in freedom of speech. Why do you allow Chris H. and Joel to control the narrative? Why, as a leader, do you not step in and demand better from your friends? Bring the community together versus fear versus tear them apart.
It's absolutely false. I've been blocked on several pages. And how am I supposed to control people that I don't know who they are on Facebook? I am not the Facebook police. How about the other people who have fake profiles that attack me? How come it's always my fault that I'm not controlling individuals? The problem is Facebook is social media. Social media, anybody can be a keyboard warrior or a keyboard coward. And again, for the record, I am not Joe Howard. I don't have a fake Facebook profile. I barely comment on Facebook because it gets twisted and I think it's childish. You want to talk to me? Come talk to me in person.
Do you know Joe Howard?
I do not know Joe Howard. I thought I did, but as I was having dinner with that person, Joe Howard was posting, so no, I don't know Joe Howard.
Do you know the Muffin Man?
The Muffin?
What message do you have for your supporters that plan to vote to keep the current form of government?
I would look at what we've done. Look at the path of the village is going on and trust that process. There are a handful of people out there that don't want to change just because they don't want me to have the top spot day-to-day operations of it. That's not how you run the town. So my supporters who support me know that I have Bensenville at my heart. They know that I've done everything I can for the village of Bensenville. That's why I think this should go no on the referendum.
Will coffee with the president happen this year,
Absolutely.
if you're elected?
Absolutely.
Just gonna put that.
Yes. Or just be coffee with Frank.
If you don't know Joe Howard, how does this person know so much about you, the town, the issues, inside stuff?
Obviously, it's somebody who knows who I am. Obviously, or it's somebody who follows what I do. I don't know. I can tell you right now, it's not my wife, it's not my kids, it's not me. So maybe it's somebody inside Village Hall. Maybe it's an opponent. Maybe it's an opposition. Maybe it's somebody who foils the village for all the information and is trying to make me look bad. It can be any one of those things. It doesn't necessarily have to be a supporter of mine. Just because they know information, there's a lot of foils going on out there that people need information on. So I mean, it could be that too.
Were you at dinner with Mark S. or Jim B. when you thought that is who Joel H. was?
I've never been to dinner with Mark S. or Jim B.
I think the optics don't look good. Firing, not renewing, village manager, police chief retiring, then becoming interim village manager, and then you wanting to become village manager, giving you a salary increase, then trying to spin it as saving taxpayer money. It's the optics.
Well, the optics are what you want to perceive them to be. The police chief mentioned he was thinking about retiring. It was put out there that he was retiring. I had a long conversation with him about that. So that right there was twisted. Saving money, that's not optics. That's true. The numbers don't lie on that. So that in itself answers that question. And as the village manager, we just didn't renew his contract. I mean, he wasn't going to be renewed anyways. We were going to either go out for somebody else or try to change the form of government. So if the change of government doesn't work, we will be looking for a new village manager.
All right, I think this is going to be it. All right, anything else you want to say to your voters?
Vote. April 1st is the election. Vote no on the referendum. And I promise you, the village will be in better shape than it has ever been.